but also you don't get accepted for major studies.
So everybody's been saying about money.
You're too much money.
We welcome you to the town of Marshfield's Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony. I am Karen Poet. I am the Director of Marshfield Veteran Services. It's been my pleasure to serve both you and our veterans for the past 11 years. I am joined by Veterans Assistant Director Lisa Potts, who has been working in Veteran Services for 12 years, and 3 of them here in Marshfield. It is our job to make sure that our veterans and their families are aware of all the benefits they are entitled to and that they receive those benefits. We thank you for coming here today to honor our veterans who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Through the years, so many friends and loved ones had gone off to war, and while some came home, never the same, some just never came home. It is our responsibility to recognize those sacrifices that were made by our veterans. And today around the country, people are placing wreaths, holding ceremonies and parades, and reading the names of those fallen veterans. But truthfully, the most significant way to honor our fallen veterans, any veteran, is to not only honor and take care of them, but to take care of their families as well. That is a promise we make every day in this town. And it's a promise we can keep because we have you on our team. And we thank you for that. So now, as we enjoy the day with family and friends, don't forget to pause to remember why this day is significant. Never forget the sacrifices our veterans have made and continue to make in service to our country. At this time, please turn and face our flag for the national anthem performed by the Marshfield High School Band. I will call a present arms to those who should salute. Everyone else, please remove your hat and place your hand over your heart. Groups, present arms. Now for our opening prayer, Reverend Andrew Williams from North Community Church.
Please join me in a spirit of prayer. Loving and nurturing God, we gather this morning with meaningful memories on our hearts of the many people we miss this day. Guide us in our times of grief to embody the example of our veterans, to view their sacrifice as inspirational for our own callings in whatever ways we serve. Guide us too in defending the sacred democracy that we share together. May we defend it with our participation and with our compassion for one another. Because so many made the ultimate sacrifice, may we see the true cost of war and do everything we can to prevent it. Help us in that process to recognize the pragmatism of peace. Open our souls so that we may sense your spirit and the presence of those we miss through our relationships with one another, through the beauty of your creation, through the smile from a stranger, and all the support we offer one another. We pray together. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Williams. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance led by our DAV Commander, Dennis McGowan.
Please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag
It is now our pleasure to introduce our Grand Marshal of this year's Memorial Day Parade, Mr. Ed Timlin. Ed Timlin Jr. enlisted in the Navy prior to graduating from Youngstown State University in 1966, and he was commissioned an ensign in January of 1967. Ed was assigned to the U.S. Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 9 and served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. He was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal with Device, and the Combat Action Medal. That's for you. Ed was honorably discharged in November of 1969 and went on to serve 3 additional years in the active reserve. Ed and his wife Paula have lived in Marshfield for 48 years and raised their 2 children, Mark and Brenna, here in Marshfield. Ed is currently our town's volunteer grades officer, a trustee of the Veterans Memorials, and an active member of the Korean War Veterans Association. Thank you, Ed, for your service to our country, our community, and most of all, your fellow veterans. I would now like to acknowledge some of our attendees, if you would hold your applause till I get through the names. Senator Patrick O'Connor, Marshfield Select Board Chair Ben Fiddler, Vice Chair Steve Darcy, Clerk Eric Kelly, Town Administrator Michael Moresco, Registrar of Probate Matt McDonough, who's usually here, and our town's Graves Officer, Ed Timlin. We thank them all for their support. Thank you very much. Again, please hold your applause while I read off our Board of Trustees for Veterans and Memorials. Chairman Ed Sullivan, who could not be here with us today. Vice Chair Ed Timlin, Heather White, Janine Vaughn, and Carmine Bruno, the caretaker of this beautiful Veterans Memorial Park. Please give them a great round of applause. And we are also honored to have the following representatives from our Marshfield Veterans Organization. Commander DAV, Chapter 35, Dennis McGowan. DAV Auxiliary Unit 35, Nicole Sestito. Commander, American Legion Post 88, Barney Dow. Commander, VFW Post 8345, Pat Fleming. President of the Daniel Webster VFW Auxiliary, Mary Lynn Bosaw. Commander, Korean War Veterans Association Lopes Ferris Chapter, Bob Griffin. And Commander of the Index Post 1996, Jim Bennett. Thank you, Commanders. And at this time, I would like to welcome Senator Pat O'Connor.
Good morning, everybody. Just using my phone here because I took to read at the end. But I first want to thank all of you for coming out today to honor all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our nation. At an early age, we're taught on the South Shore about our rich military history. And I'm so proud to be able to represent an area of the state that pays such appreciation to all of the sacrifices that were made, from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terror, In building this American experiment to the progress that it's seen to being the leader of the free world, the South Shore has played a pivotal part in the American experiment. The freedoms and values and ideals represented by our flag is thanks to all the people that we remember here today. Those that believed in something bigger than themselves, and they died for it. I came across something recently that I thought perfectly explains Memorial Day. Today is the most expensive day on the calendar. Every hot dog, every burger, every spin around the lake or the ocean, every drink with friends or family is a debt purchased by others. This is not about all who serve. That day comes in the fall. This one is in honor of those who paid with life and blood, whose moms never saw them again, whose dads wept in private, whose wives or husbands raised kids alone, and whose kids only remember them in picture. This isn't simply a day off. It's a day to remember that others paid for every breath that we take as a free person. God bless Marshfield, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the United States of America.
Thank you, Senator. At this time, we welcome Select Board Chair Lynn Goodman. Good morning, everybody. The veteran community here in Marshfield is strong, and they take care of each other, as you can see. We also need to take care of them. I encourage our community to continue to support this honorable group of men and women. And thank you for showing your support here today. I am a daughter of an Army corporal, and this is a solemn day for all. Today I would like to give thanks to my dad for instilling in me a labor of love, and my love to all our friends and families that are hurting today. We are all here today because of a labor of love. I imagine this labor of love is on minds of our servicemen and women all the time. They are our country's caretakers. I think many of you understand how each day is a labor of love. Parents, caretakers. We work and strive to be the best caretakers we can be. We are all here as caretakers, caretakers of Marshfield and our veterans, and we all do our part. We care and show up because it is important, and do not expect anything in return. We instill this labor of love in our youth and work hard at teaching them what is right and wrong. And today is a perfect example of that. There's so many of you. Karen Paulette, our Director of Veteran Service, and Lisa Potts, Assistant Director, and Ed Timlin know what it means when we say this is a labor of love. Today, please reflect on our country and pay respect to those we have lost. On behalf of the town, the Select Board, our dignitaries, and most of all of you, it is a privilege of being here today. God bless America. Thank you. This is a battle I'm not going to win today. At this time, I would like to please welcome Marianne Bursaw, President of the Daniel Webster VFW Auxiliary and surviving spouse of Vietnam veteran Ed Bursaw.
Good morning. I have been a veteran's wife for 45 years. My Ed passed away 3 years ago from his direct exposure to Agent Orange while he served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. My son Peter and I are members of a support group composed of family members whose loved ones have been affected by their exposure to Agent Orange. It has helped us tremendously during our grief process. Our veterans represent the highest ideals of our country. While we can never fully repay the debt we owe these heroes, we will honor their service and provide them the care and support they deserve. In my role as president of the VFW Auxiliary here in Marshfield, We help and acknowledge veterans in many different ways. We bring an awareness to the community by allowing children in our schools to write essays, draw pictures, and make videos about patriotism that we pass along to our district for recognition. This year, I decided to ask a few of our veterans, what does freedom mean to you? One Vietnam veteran told me that freedom meant one thing before he fought for our country, and when he returned home, it had a different meaning. He said that before he served, freedom was the ability to do whatever he wanted to do, unless it was illegal or harmful to himself and others. As he began to talk about how he felt about freedom after he came home from Vietnam, his eyes filled up with tears, his lip quivered, and his voice was shaky. Another veteran said, freedom is a precious right that we can have unlike anywhere else in the world. We can walk down the street and not see military equipment, soldiers with weapons. We don't have curfews. We can go to the church of our choice. We can shop wherever and whenever we want to do. Our food is not rationed. Our fuel is available to travel by car, boat, train, and airplane. We can go for a walk and not worry that we will be asked to go home. Stay indoors and wait until someone tells you when you can leave your home and carry on with your day. He also spoke a great deal about people saying thank you for their service and then being embarrassed, not knowing what to say. I said to him, just say you're welcome and smile. Very simple. The veterans are trying their best to acknowledge their part in fighting for and protecting our freedom. We need to honor them every day. So let's think of all the things that we have that speak of our freedom and be thankful for them. Here is my challenge to all of you. Next time you see someone wearing a cap, a jacket, a shirt, or a uniform that identifies them as a veteran, please thank them for their service and ask how they are. Smile. Veterans are the reason we have our freedom. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Marion. Now it is our great pleasure to introduce our next guest. He is an Army helicopter pilot who served in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Retiring with 32 plus years of military service, the Silver Star, the Distinguished Flying Cross, a Bronze Star, 3 Purple Hearts, and 42 Air Medals, and that's not even halfway through his discharge paper. He's also published a memoir of his service titled This is Minuteman, 2, 3, Go. Please give a big round of applause for our friend Chief Warrant Officer 4, Wayne Chasen.
Thank you very much. Before I begin, I'd like to give a big shout out to Karen Paulette. Karen, more than any other person, more than the VA itself, has been my lifeline. She has done more for me and my family than you can imagine. I can't tell you how lucky the town of Marshfield is to have her and Lisa Evans. My name is Wayne Chasen, and as Karen Paulette said, my military and flying career spread over 30 years. I was a helicopter pilot first, and as you will see, a public speaker once. I had the distinct honor of serving with some incredible people. It was truly a band of brothers and sisters. They were our parents and children, spouses and partners, siblings, friends, and relatives. And as Americans, it was our duty to ensure the stories of their lives and bravery are not lost with time. Those stories, through their stories, their memory, and the impact they had on this great nation live on. I try to remember their courage, honor, and bravery today, each and every day. For those that have served, thank you for your sacrifice. We owe you a debt we can never hope to repay. One day does not seem like enough to thank all of you who have sacrificed so much. For me, the Vietnam War was in some ways like all wars. There were periods of loneliness, boredom, and even some moments of comical diversion. There were also times of intense excitement and terror. It's hard to explain to people who have never experienced war how all these contrasting emotions are seamlessly interwoven into a soldier's life. For me, one of the painful memories was when one of our soldiers in my company was killed. There was no goodbye, no service, no wait. Just one fellow soldier would go through his gear and have to fly ship it home. Maybe a beer or two and just move on to the next day, one day at a time. Always thinking, it won't be me, it will be somebody else. That's how we dealt with the possibility of death. They say there can be no finer calling than serving one's country. And while sacrifice is inherent during a life of service, more than 600,000 service members have made the ultimate sacrifice to protect the freedoms we hold true. The youngest soldier killed in Vietnam was 15 years old, and that's not a token. Memorial Day is our moment to remember and to honor them, our nation's fallen heroes. And the truth is, all veterans pay with their lives, some all at once, while others pay over a lifetime. So I ask you, if you are able, save for them a place inside of you and save one backward glance when you are leaving for the places they can no longer go. In the end, I will end with this one thought. Please don't say Happy Memorial Day. Just a touch on the shoulder, a pat on the back, and a thank you for coming home.
We will now read the names of Marshfield service members who laid down their lives in service to our country, followed by a 21-gun salute and taps. I will again call present arms to those who should salute, while everyone else remove your hat and place your hand over your heart. World War II, Martin L. Baker, Raymond E. Bourne, Thomas E. Johnson, Burton Peterson, Richard Peterson, Norman H. Randall, Walton K. Rogers, Wilford Young, Jr. Korean War, Alfred Lopes, Jr., Ronald R. Ferris, Mark A. Erickson. Vietnam War, John A. Berrio, William A. Hogshaw, Ronald P. Daly, James W. Mailer, Richard Olson, Edward T. Egan. Groups, present arms. Order arms. In closing, we owe many thanks to many people making this day happen. Joey Kent setting up the park, putting up the chairs, our DPW placing flags, Flags along Route 139, Brian McPhee and Joe Klein Corporate for the sound system. Marshfield High School Band with Director Dave Kaminsky. Buglist Joshua Panagrossi and Finley Turner. Many thanks to our ever faithful color guard provided by the DAV and the rifle squad provided by our VFW. Our police and fire for always ensuring the safety of our veterans and residents on this day. And we thank each of you, our residents, who took the time to attend today's ceremony and parade. And we will now end our ceremony with Julie Gamage, 7th grade student, who will read her poem, What Memorial Day Means to Me, followed by God Bless America, sung by Alyssa Budd, Toby Mamet, Cooper Sullivan, and Brandon Murphy.
A solemn day lies within the month of May. Flags dance at half-staff as they're given a chance to ponder what our soldiers provided, a chance to thank those who flew the land for its dangers. To me, Memorial Day is more than the mere ribbons on the cap. We annually gather to honor, to remember those here and those not, to value the eternal debt we owe, a debt not in finances, but in bravery and sacrifice. Hand in hand, our nation still stands because of the legacy they left, forever imprinting their courage and grit, keeping our nation together for the years we've yet to reach.
Water?
Beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. Down from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, and swine before. God bless America, my home sweet home. America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you. They were just wonderful, as always. We hope today's ceremony will keep the memories of our departed comrades alive in your hearts and minds. The VFW is hosting a free lunch for those who participated in the parade and ceremony. They're located at 655 Main Street. That's at the VFW. And this concludes our Memorial Day ceremony, and we thank you all for attending.